the conversation to that?
No, I don't. I don't have one.
Cool.
Neither do I. I just heard of it, so I wanted to learn some more about it.
Awesome.
Yeah, me too.
Well, that works out great. Lauren, is there anyone else that we should mention, or should we can go and get started?
I have no one yet. I have like 55 RSVPs and got a bunch more this morning, so I'm sure people will trickle in, but
Sure, we'll trickle in.
I think we are good as
Cool.
of right now.
Well, I actually made a little deck today, but in that, actually, before we get started, and now, Keisha, if you just want to type in the chat as well, it works out great too. What like niches are y'all actually in? Like what kind of like have you thought about what kind of content you want to make, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so I have an Etsy shop right now, and I do a lot of like coloring pages for
Very cool.
kids, and I've been doing like name tracing worksheets, that sort of type thing.
And they're really cute. I've seen them.
Oh, thank you. I know, I miss you, Lauren.
I really miss you.
And I'm a product photographer and I teach visual branding.
Very cool. So those are both very monetizable niches. So y'all are in good hands. And what would you say y'all are struggling with right now? Like, what are the questions you have right now? Because I'll make sure to cover those.
I didn't really think about questions. I was like, I'm just coming to see what's going on and see what it's about. So I don't know. I mean, I would like to know the difference in this and Etsy and kind of, yeah, like how, yeah, the difference between those two. I would like to know that.
Cool.
So I already use Go High Level to host my courses. And so I'm looking to see if this is a better platform, potentially for printables, downloadable things like that. I'm curious to understand if there's more of a community that can help direct client or customers to me.
Wonderful. And hey, Alex, welcome. If we're, because it's a smaller session today, we wanted to actually do some like one-on-one stuff. So if you ever want to jump in, if you want to share like your niche or what your questions you have, I can cover all those in the presentation today. It's good to meet you.
Yeah, I'm really getting started, so I'm listen for the first time. Hi, Lauren.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you.
Awesome. We got some folks trickling in. Hey there, Vanessa. How are you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. We actually just got done with a quick little intro. So basically, because it's a smaller group today, I wanted to just make sure that I was answering everyone's questions. So I'm curious, like if you have a niche or like any questions you have about the broad journey that you're on, I can actually cover those in the presentation today.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so a little bit about myself is I'm a social media manager, and I'm also working on also creating content for myself. So I'm just interested in everything that you have to share, and I'm sure that everything you share is going to be like really amazing, no matter what it is.
I love this vote of confidence. I appreciate it. So we've got a couple. Keisha, you had some questions around Etsy versus Stan. I'll already give you the answer right now. Etsy charges you a butt ton of fees. Stan charges you 0% in fees. So that in and of itself will save you a ton of money. Natalie, on the same side, Go High Level is, you know, a very complex solution that I think is great in certain circumstances, likely not in a social media and a mobile first way. And it's also, from my understanding, very expensive. But I think the value you all will get today from what I'm hearing, like Alex, you're early in your journey. Vanessa, it sounds like you've got a lot of the core skill sets, but like what would it look like for you to actually build your own business and your own account? I'm really glad that I prepped this deck here today for y'all, because I think we're all kind of in the same part of the journey of like, I have an inkling of what I want. Like I have a solid understanding, like, you know, now you're really good at brand visuals and sharing that. Keisha, you've got a clear product around the coloring pages, how to actually blow that out. And so in this deck I put together for Day, let me share that. It really kind of focuses on all of those things, where the thing that I always like to do when I first start thinking about should I actually do something in my life is I'm always kind of like an LA girly, and I do a visualization exercise. And so for me, when I think about this journey that like Lauren is on, that I've been on as a creator entrepreneur, there are a couple things that people get really excited about. And so those three things here is number one, like I'm imagining like, holy crap, can I actually build, like you see all these businesses out there that are like, oh, like I started a business online and like the bills actually feel easy. Like I'm making real money now. Beyond that, like, can you imagine like a world where actually you love what you do? And so for me, we'll talk about my story in a little bit, like what does it actually feel like to like wake up every morning and work on something I'm genuinely passionate about? And then lastly, on top of that, which is around the bills are easy, is there's true financial freedom. And I mean that not just from like a finances, the bills are easy perspective, but one thing I've learned through this journey as well is you get the freedom of time and like to spend your time how you want to. And so many of our most successful creators on Stan, because they've like really thought about what I'm going to cover here today, they post actively about how they get to spend time with their family while also running a business that they love. And so Lauren, I can see you kind of smiling and nodding there. It is like, it sounds almost too good to be true. And in some ways I think it is, because it's actually really hard work to get here. I don't want to deceive anyone, but these things are possible. We see it every single day. And so this is kind of the visualization exercise that I always like to do of like, is this life possible for me? And before this journey, I was like, kind of cranking on 9 to 5. And so today instead, what we want to focus on is not really this visualization, but so like how to literally tactically get there. And so at the end of this kind of hour-long session, I'm sure we'll be even shorter than that. This is the 100% goal that I guarantee you will walk away with, is you will learn how to make your first $10,000. And what that breaks down to, y'all, the 3 things you're going to learn today. Number 1 is you're going to know what your audience actually wants to buy from you. So like figuring out how do I actually build, like what do people actually want from me? Because you can't build a business unless like people actually want something from you. And then number 2, once that kind of decision is made out there, I'm going to make sure that y'all walk away from this like really concretely by the end of this hour. Like I know exactly what I'm going to sell. I have confidence and conviction in that. And because we have a smaller group today, it's going to be working out perfect. If y'all also want to just shoot stuff into the chat, I'll read the chat and I'm going to have y'all brainstorm exactly what y'all want to sell. And I will just give you very honest feedback, having seen thousands of creators, whether or not it's a good idea. So we can do that today because it's a smaller group. And then lastly, the thing where most people get stuck up on is like, we all have that big, bright $1 million idea, but usually where we get stuck is like actually doing that thing because we're busy with our family, busy with other obligations, busy with our full-time role. And so what we're going to walk through today is how to actually do this in the easiest way possible. Like we've seen all of the mistakes here at Stan, like what people do where they get caught up on. And so I'm going to give you guys, number 1, the idea of what you want to sell that you have real conviction and confidence in. And number 2, how to actually make that a reality so that this little visualization here actually works out. And so with that being said, I should also introduce myself. And so for those who don't know me, I am the founder of Stan. But the reason why Stan actually became a thing was actually out of my own story, where I've kind of got like, some of my friends make fun of me. That's like, you've got kind of got a dual personality, John, of one, you're an absolute business hardo. Some of my team's on the line with me here today. I had a background basically working in corporate finance and like being an investor, being an investment banker. But then like kind of through the pandemic, I actually made a TikTok account as well. And so basically I started this career here, building like a career in the business world in 9 to 5 that I actually found pretty unhappy. But through that journey, I actually started onto TikTok, found this life here, and it's been really, really wonderful. But what I do now in terms of running Stan, I get to work with the coolest creators out there. These are just some of my first clients that I ever got to work with. You've likely seen maybe Tatiana, just like she's one of the best in real estate. She's on TikTok all the time. But something that we're really proud of here at Stan, this is a chart of how much we've made over the last 3 years for creators. That's $100 million. So all we do, and Lauren knows this really well, what we do best is we help creators make money. Like this is my lifeblood. This is my team's lifeblood. All we think about is how do we actually help people like you pursue their passions. And we'll talk about why we care so much about that, because it's a really wonderful and rewarding journey if you can actually execute on it. So with that being said, my life wasn't always this way where I was like the go-to creator expert. Few sad corporate John. So my context and my story here, this was me before. Like this was actually a photo I took for a LinkedIn headshot way back in the day in my like private equity investing job. Here it's like, just don't let the smile fool you. I was like dead inside. This is basically what I was thinking about. Number 1 is I need income in a job that I actually like, because I was in this job that like everyone presented to me. If you check these boxes and do this thing, you'll be happy in life. Lo and behold, I worked my whole life to get to this thing. And I fucking hated it. I hope we're not recording it. I fucking hated it. I looked at my bosses and I was like, I don't want it. Like, despite, you know, all the things that they have on their resume, I don't want that life. And so beyond that, I was also like, maybe pull her hair too. So point being, it was like peak pandemic. And so we're all kind of sitting here doom scrolling. And so I was like, screw it, I'm gonna start posting on TikTok. And so for me in this journey, I was like in a job thinking about like what would actually be more rewarding. And for me, I was asking myself the question, what kind of content could I actually make? And you'll see here that I started posting basically career content. Because for me, what I really, really loved and what I felt passionate about was I, as an underrepresented minority, had broken into Wall Street without a single connection. And I realized that that was such a powerful thing that I had learned that I could really help other people with. And that was my value I could give to this world. And so I started making content and I was like, wait, this is really cool. Not only am I like getting to do stuff on my own, getting to be creative and self-express for the first time, but the last piece here is maybe this is the way I can make money for myself, but I had this question of how do I monetize? And so here I am on TikTok, basically asking myself, what do I do? And so that was kind of the lens 4 years ago where I started this journey. And so what I'll share with you all today is basically that process and how I thought about it. And then so that y'all can do the same and extrapolate that for your own journey. And so that really hits the first section that we're going to cover today, which is I want to help y'all figure out what your audience truly wants from you. Because if you know what you can give to this world, then if you can serve the world in that way, I guarantee you can just scale that and make a huge business from that, because that's what we've seen here at Stan. And so it's actually really, really simple to figure this out. And some of y'all have already thought about what product you want to offer. But I want y'all to think about it from the lens of, I want you to think about yourself as a business and a brand. And so I just want y'all to answer a couple quick questions here in your mind or chat them out, which is like, if you already have some content you're making it now, or you have friends who ask you for stuff all the time, ask yourself, like, what are the top 3 to 5 DMs or comments I get right now? Like, what are the things that I might be able to add value in this world with? That would be kind of the first question I'd ask. And if you guys want to think through it right now, then from there, it's like, which one of these DMs or comments do I have the most consistent answer to? Because what we're going to do is we're going to see the patterns of like, oh, I have this value in the world. Like, for example, like, you know, I really love fitness, or I really love health and wellness. And my friends always ask me about this. They always ask me the same kind of questions. What if I could actually productize that? And then lastly is, how do I turn that answer into a product here, right? So this is the process we're going to go through here, where for me, I just ask myself this question here, which is, what knowledge do I have that other people want? And I've already kind of previewed for y'all. It was the fact that I knew how to like get your first job out of college or out of high school without any connections. How do you build a network? How do you interview properly? All that kind of stuff. And so I actually think it might be worth taking a second in the chat if y'all want to throw in any thoughts. Like, what is that for y'all that y'all have an idea here? And then I can help y'all build that into an actual product over the next 10 minutes. Canva. You are, Lauren, you are an expert on Canva. Anyone else? Product-based business. Alex, what do you mean by that on product-based business? And feel free to just jump in too while everyone else types their thing in the chat.
Yeah, I'm trying to narrow it down, but it's basically helping small product-based businesses scale online.
So you have some sort of expertise. What are some of the questions that people ask you?
Gosh, it's really like, it's about like what channels should they be selling through. It's about their brand, how to like make it stand out, especially if they're just on Etsy, if that they want to like create their own brand and, you know, have their own website, have their own channel.
Lovely. So there's some consistent patterns around like, basically they're asking you kind of like, how do I have an idea for a product, how do I launch that, right?
Or they have a product, but they're really like, they're part of a really big marketplace and they're just like one in a sea of a million.
Right. So like Keisha, for example, on her Etsy, she has an Etsy store with coloring pages, but how do you differentiate across all these sellers?
Yeah.
Right. And so the thing now to think about, Alex, I appreciate you sharing all this. This is wonderful. Let's dive right into this and figure out exactly what you should offer. Is, okay, I know what people want from me. Now, how do I get them to buy that from me? So Natalie is saying, people ask me how to create a visual brand, how to create visual brand consistency, which by the way, I need for myself. So I can see how that's something that people really want. So we have a general need in the market. Now we need to package that into a consumable product, right? Or a service. And so that's really the next section here that I started thinking about for myself, where once again, my value in the world was helping people get their first dream job. And so all I did when I thought about like, how do I package it in a product? This is literally the original stance where I built for myself, guys. You'll see here, it's super, super simple. And this is how I made my first 10K. The first thing that I did was I literally uploaded, I reset my password, forgot password on my old Dropbox. And I found my original junior year resume internship. I literally downloaded that and uploaded that onto a checkout page in my Stan store. And I sold that for $10. And because people knew me as the job guy, I sold $1,000 of just a PDF. I didn't put in any work. I just took that. As an example, then I built off of that. I had a course. I also offered one-on-one coaching sessions, but they're all, if you think about it, these are all different ways in which someone can interact with me in the same way that, if I was helping people create visual brand consistency, there's definitely a couple key pillars in like having a consistent brand that can be your freebie or your $10 entry guide before you offer, let's say, a larger course around like, this is how you build a true brand. This is how you think about brand strategy and like your brand values and then your brand expression, your aesthetics, all the way into like, there are some people, for example, Alex, I'm sure like some of these product-based business owners, like I'm sure they'll love a course and a product, but at the end of the day, they also love you and they want to talk to you and get your advice. So that's when you can offer a much higher price coaching session.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I'm going to give you all the full menu, the full universe of things that you can actually sell. And so these are all the things that we see the most success here at Stan. And keep in mind, we have $100 million worth of data of what actually works well. And so in that, the first number one thing that I guarantee all of y'all can start with right now today is coaching. And what I mean by that is basically you have some sort of knowledge or advice that someone out there on the internet would pay for. Like that's the beauty of these algorithms we're in today, which is that if you make content out there about whatever you care about and you help solve someone else's problem, the algorithms will literally just put you in front of whoever actually cares about it. It's like really beautiful that we have that today. And so we've seen like this be the easiest way to 100K, because if you book, 100 different people for $1,000 in some sort of coaching package, that is like literally your first 100K. Or you can sign a couple 6K per month retainer clients, like whatever that is. This is actually really like literally anyone can start with this today. And so in that, we've seen anything from business coaching, right? We see that Alex and Natalie, you guys have that there, and you can do a mastermind for sure, Natalie, on this. It's a great way to make 100K in a kind of scale way. You have health and fitness. We have lots of online personal trainers. If you're a marketing expert, hairstyling is something that we actually see a lot, like where someone will literally get on the phone with someone and like do an audit and like, Lauren, you're looking at me like, I don't know, Lauren, how much we can style your hair, but with that, it's like, tell me about yourself and can I actually give you advice? Because we've also seen someone do coin collecting, right? Like it's crazy. Like there's so many random niches that you can see in from coaching. Dog training is a really good one that I love that's virtual, which is wild to me. And also if you're an expert on social media, Vanessa, like you actually can share that information with other businesses and small business owners who are looking to break out on social media. And so one of my favorite examples of someone who's a coach in some way is actually Eddie Abu. Eddie is like 65 and based in the UK. And he basically he focuses on senior fitness. And so one thing that I thought would be super fun for us to do today is actually guess how much each one of these people have made. So I'm curious for y'all, Eddie's a larger account, but how much do you think how much would y'all guess that he's made in terms of like income from coaching, just like on the internet?
How long has he been up?
He's been creating probably 2 years, but he's only been on Stan for less than a year. He's been on Stan for like 7 months. 8 figures.
I think he's in. I feel like I've seen you guys post him. I feel like he was the million one. Right? Was it him? Let's see what other people.
350K, $1 million is what Keisha is saying.
Like he was one of them.
Any other guesses? We got a good range here. So Eddie, having only been on Stan for I think 6 months, keep in mind only 6 months by the way, has made north of $1 million US. And I love giving him as an example because he's 65, and I'm just like if a 65-year-old like senior fitness instructor can learn how to use social media to build an online business, like I promise you everyone can. And the same way, because he's also thought about scaling his business over time. And these are some of the other products you might consider offering. The other thing is like, let's say you don't have a lot of time. You can't do like one-to-one coaching sessions. Well, you can extrapolate out what's the core like problem you're solving for your customer. And in that case, it's it's really just giving them advice in some way. And so we've seen a lot of creators actually offer these kind of asynchronous consulting services or audits. And so one way that we see this is actually people will do these ask me anything requests, where on their Stan store, they'll put up some sort of ability to actually like pay for some sort of audit. So for example, Stylist Socials here, she's one of our top creators on TikTok who teaches social media. She actually has the ability for you to submit, you purchase this masterclass, it's a pre-recorded webinar, and then you submit your actual like a TikTok account, and she'll go through and look at it in her time off, and she'll bang out like 20 of these in a night, and like whenever she wants to, and she gives advice, she records a video basically giving advice on what she thinks they can do to improve their TikTok account. And so for her, she's made 340K just doing that basically, and she's crushed it. And so these are all kind of like services that require you to spend some time doing something. The other golden goose here that I'm sure y'all hear a lot about is like hashtag passive income. Basically, the question that I always used to ask when I saw that was like, what does that actually mean? And so in that, the number one way that people think about this is within the context of like some sort of digital products or some sort of file. So what we see a ton is some sort of ebook or guide. And so, for example, Lauren is like my go-to Canva expert. And so when Lauren drops a new Canva guide, like you can for sure bet that I'm going to download and purchase that, because I know that she is like the go-to expert on Canva. And so this kind of stuff here, if y'all think about what kind of first digital product you want to make, this is a really great entry product, right? This is some sort of beginner guide or a one-on-one. It's a lower price product. And it's a great stepping stone specifically before you make a larger course, which we'll talk about later. But we have tons of examples. It's always some sort of like fitness 101, recipe guide, what have you. And one of my favorite examples lately at Stan is actually a woman named Milkmaid Farm. And this is a really fun one. Let's do a guess again. So what Selena posts about, she literally posts about what it's like to homestead. Like what it's literally like to live basically off the grid for the most part and run your own farm, which is like a dream of mine personally, which is why I love her account. And so she literally, all she sells, guys, all she sells is a $37 guide on all of her recipes that she uses in her self-sufficient farm. So throw the question back to the crowd. What do we think she's made just selling a $37 guide off of her recipes?
How long has she been using Stan?
Only 6 months. Also very, very short.
$250.
I love it. We got a 90K from Natalie. I'm seeing some consistency of like Keisha, just like you believe in people, and I love it. Vanessa's also 70K. That's a lot. You guys are actually like pretty aggressive. I'm like, damn, like I love that. She's made 330K. Which, to be clear, once again, guys, it's a $37 recipe guide, right? This is like, you think that's kind of absurd, right? If you do the math, like do $327,908 divided by $37. Like how many of these has she sold just from posting videos literally about her sourdough starter kits and her recipes? Like these are things that we all do, by the way, right? She's just decided that she's going to spend some time committing herself to posting about it. And so in that, then you start to think about how do I really make high ticket sales? And so this is, I'm going to focus on one of our newer creators here. But basically, when you think about courses here, these are more involved, but they actually can generally lead you to having a higher price. And they're more involved because you have to build out a video lesson and a curriculum, all that kind of stuff. But as a result, you can really, really think about stuff. So for example, we have a course that's really expensive here at Stan called the Creator MBA that people can take. But that's something that when people are really committed to like, I want to build my business, then like, I'm going to go take that because it's going to have all of the knowledge that I teach and a couple other folks teach. And then also from kind of any other vantage point, what people are looking at when it comes to like course topics is basically just like, I'm at some certain point in my life. And what y'all all have to offer is the ability to help someone go from point A to point B. And so when you think about offering your product or service, especially a course, it's like, for example, for the Creator MBA, it's like, I know that I want to go from $10,000 to $100,000. What are the skills that I need to scale my business? And we say, the Creator MBA will teach you literally that. And so when y'all think about your business here, so whether it's thinking about building brand consistency, whether it's like actually launching a product-based business, take your customer's language of like, I'm struggling with getting someone to purchase my product, right, Alex? And go from there. Like, this is how you go from $1,000 to $10,000 in sales, from $0 to $10,000 in sales. This is how you find your go-to marketing channel for your product-based business, like whatever that is. And you package that into the course, like UGC Ange. She's basically started as a UGC creator herself, and then realized she had built so much expertise that with her $300 course, she's made over 350K. just teaching other people how she's gone through the process of actually learning how to be a UGC creator. And so it's the same thing here. We're just taking our learnings and our expertise and packaging that into the product. And so last but not least, there's one other thing that I want to show y'all that I think is the easiest way to do it. And it's also what I was kind of alluding to when I mentioned that I made my first 10K off of literally, guys, like downloading my old resume and then just literally uploading. Like I didn't change it whatsoever, which I was like, maybe I should change a couple of things. Is like kind of clunky, but I literally just took that and uploaded that. And that's because what we see is the most successful thing here at Stan is something that we call templates. So what I mean by that is this is something that's by far the most authentic thing you can offer your audience, because it's a template of how you run your life. Basically, what I want y'all to do, so I'm curious if y'all have any ideas right now, you can throw them in the chat. Basically, like, I'm curious for you, Alex, like, is there any sort of like content calendar or like checklist or anything like that that you run in your business when you advise people? Or like, basically, Lauren, I'm sure like you have Canva templates that are your go-tos for your social media posts. Is there anything in your life that you use on a consistent basis that you could just productize? And so sorry.
I was thinking mine is like an Excel, like it's got all the formulas built out for like calculate. Is that
That's
something?
beautiful.
Yeah.
I got so excited because there is nothing that sells better than an Excel spreadsheet, because people hate Excel and are terrified of it. We have like someone who does rental income calculators who's made over 100K with a $25 rental income calculator for like evaluating property. So, right. So we all have, Alex, I'm so glad you shared that, because we all have some sort of tool that we use that we actually probably think nothing of, but we spent time building. And that here is really wonderful because it's a true alignment with your audience's success. Because the only reason they would buy a template is if they're actually going to go on this journey with you, they're actually going to achieve that. And so you'll see the pricing generally between $5 to $100 or so for kind of a template. But with this is one of my favorites here. Carrie Williamson, her name's at Motherboard Press. People say all the time, well, that might be a marketing question, Alex, and we can talk about that in a second. People all the time are like, well, John, I don't know if I have anything to post about. Like, I don't know like what my expertise is. Carrie's a really great example. All she posts about is how to actually stay sane as a mom. If we have any moms in the audience, I can only empathize with how crazy that might be. But like, think about it. Like, she's just living her life, and she just posts all like how she takes care of her kids and also runs a business and is a great partner, all that kind of stuff. And so all she did was just she uploaded the planner that she uses herself like every morning to take to take care of her family and like go through like grocery lists, what have you. Like you can see she's got her home flow toolkit. These are all the rituals that she personally uses to stay sane. And in that, she's made $45,000 over the last few months. Right? This is just like how she runs her life. She's just learning how to communicate all the things that she uses in her life to stay sane and sharing that with the world. And so I wanted kind of the point of this to be not only like, hey guys, here's some ideas on like what you could sell, and hopefully your brains are jogging a little bit. But two is like, I've met every single one of these people. They're just like you and me, and just absolutely normal people. And that's what and that's, if there's any lesson I can kind of communicate from this entire session here, is like, this is literally like, you can do this. Like, I've met these people, I've met myself. Like, we're all just people who have some sort of knowledge out there. And if you learn how to package that and go for it, then you will actually be able to achieve some of these results here that seem pretty insane. And so with that being said, even before we talk about the very last section here of like how to launch your product, I'm curious if anyone already has ideas of what they want to sell. We can bounce them back and forth. We got some time. So you can send them in the chat.
You gave me ideas. I mean,
well, what are some of those, Lauren?
No, I don't normally like sell my templates. I give them away in my social media lab, but I feel like maybe I could do like a cheap template with my cheap like Canva starter guide. I feel like that might be a cool thing to add.
Because what I feel every time I open Canva is like, I'm kind of intimidated. Yeah. There's so much going on that screen. And so if I have a couple go-to templates that I can use, that because you have a really good design aesthetic eye, yeah. If I can just use that as my base, like I feel good. Like I'm like, if Lauren uses these in her feed, then I feel good about using these in my feed.
You're just boosting my ego right now.
That's what I'm here for. Vanessa. Oh, I love this. I have my Airtable content calendar template for social media management. I always gift it to all my friends who are creating content. This is such a good one. because I have over, Vanessa, I have over 10,000 email leads from giving out my content calendar back in the day. There's nothing that people want more than structure in their life. Alex, we mentioned before that Excel to calculate conversion rates, repeat customer, and average order value. I can guarantee you that that's something every business owner needs. I would bet that maybe the way you're communicating that isn't really like, because when I hear conversion rate, repeat customer rate, average order, like I don't know what that means. So instead, how can you package that in a way that like for someone, like we all have pea-sized brains when we're scrolling social media, like how do I actually make that consumable and digestible in a way that people are like, oh, I want that. And this is actually going to be helpful for me. Natalie has, I have a few ideas. Simple one would be a shot list for product. That's wonderful. Or a creative brief. I think that's fantastic, right? Give me people are asking for consistency in their brand, but I don't know what that actually means. I just know a general feeling like, oh, I guess my feed should kind of look like my marketing materials and my advertising. So giving people the structure, right? Like this is basically, Natalie, your brain. You have a checklist of all the things you need every time you onboard a client. You're just going to take that and turn that into like a regimented process. Keisha, for you with like for your coloring pages, that's exactly it, right? You know exactly like that there's a market on Etsy for coloring pages. Let's actually save you like the 10% or whatever they take in fees, and instead build your own business where you drive your own traffic and then don't lose anything to fees.
Natalie, it is the best.
Yeah, Canva is the best, and you're in the best hands too with Lauren if you want to work with her on Canva. Of course, you can also use Notion. There's another tool. You can even use, we have people who just like do stuff in old school Microsoft Word. Like the fear that I have for folks is we always overthink things. But like I promise you, the more simple you keep it, and you'll learn that about Stan too, the more simple you keep things, actually the more successful you are. Because we as humans have this tendency to overthink things rather than just go. And so we have a couple of really good ideas here, and I'll take that through the lens of this. So in terms of how to launch your product, this so far, I worry in some ways, like I've made it seem too simple and easy, because in some ways it is, right? In some ways it's just like figure out what you want to offer in this world, make content that helps people do that, and then create a product around that. But the logistics of that, like actually setting all that up, can be a huge hassle, and I want to walk y'all through that, and this is really where Stan comes in. Number one is like, let's say we want to do some sort of coaching. So this is literally the calculus I had to do back in the day. It was like, okay, so people keep asking me for interview prep, like what should I do? And so for me, what that was number one, I needed some sort of scheduling tool, right? Like I can't, like I'm not just going to DM back and forth and be like, hey, can you do 3 o'clock next week or that week or that week? And then also like on top of that, can you like Venmo me payment or something like that? Like ideally, if all that in one place, and you also have a sales page. And so I had to build all this from scratch. Teaser as to why I ended up building Stan for my own account. And so you can take all these tools and figure this out over time, like go to Calendly and then have a PayPal invoice and have a sales page, all that kind of stuff. But the reason why folks use Stan, and you know, for folks that are considering Stan today, the easiest possible way to do this is what we've built here. And that here is with Stan. And so I figured as a fun exercise, we could just time me make a calendar coaching block really quickly here, where I've got my Stan store open here today. Literally, guys, this is my Stan store here on the right side. If I wanted to offer a coaching session right now, all I would need to do is I go here. I just want to add a new product. I click this in. I click, in this case, coaching call. It's one of like 10 other options you can do. You can do digital products. You can do a webinar. You can do a recurring membership. You can do a course. You can do literally anything. I go in and I click this. I can like upload a different photo if I want. In this case, I'm just going to pick this one right here. You can upload your own files, whatever you want to do. I can type like one-on-one coaching with me, and you'll see this live update right here. I go in, I set my price. Maybe I want to do like $150 for an hour with me because I think I'm a big wig. I can update all of the text or anything on the sales page here. And then from there, I set my availability. Let's say I'm on the West Coast, so that's great. I'm going to do an hour-long session. And then I want to block off, and I only want to work on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. I know I zoomed right through that because that's really basically it. There are a bunch of info boxes, but you can, like, those are just kind of fill in text. I publish this, and boom, right there on my store, like live right now. If I share this tab here of my store, I have that block right here. It's live. All of my customers can go in. It's synced with my Google Calendar. So like you'll see that like on those days, most of my times are blocked off. I only have 9 o'clock available. They can book that. They set the time, they put in their credit card, and everything right there is seamlessly all integrated in one place. They get a calendar invite. I get a calendar invite. I'm not double booked, and all the payment there is handled. So I don't have to go back and forth and try to do all this myself. Yes, Natalie. It's all through TikTok or Instagram, especially Instagram over time is what we've seen. Instagram is a great platform for conversion, but all of this is hosted really simply through your link in bio. So that's what Stan's used for on the coaching side. It's also we're talking about how do you sell a digital product or a course? Because once again, like if you think about it, there's like a couple things that you would need in that. Natalie, I would really think about Instagram and TikTok as a way to generate real leads. Is you would still need that sales page, right? You would need some sort of place where like on TikTok or Instagram or wherever you're driving traffic from, actually like telling them about your product and getting them to purchase and check out, like you need that checkout form. And then on top of that, the thing with digital products that's different is like you need someone that can send that, right, or host that or fill that. Because if I tried to sell that resume back in the day, just like manually, I guess I could have people DM me and then Venmo, then I'd have to like attach the PDF and email them every time. Especially if you want to host a course or something, you need somewhere to like host that course where people have a login and all that kind of stuff. And that then again is what we built Stan to do. And so Stan, once again, is the easiest possible way to do this. Like, well, if I wanted to add any sort of digital product here, once again, the same flow. I've got my store, I add a product, I click digital product here. And then from there, I can fill in all this information of what it looks like. Literally all I have to do in this case is I can upload a file. I bet this is like my tax filing or something. So I got to unpublish this in a second, but I've now uploaded that and I can set a price. It's default $9.99. We can do that. I publish that and literally just like that, guys, like that was literally it. This is live on the internet. Please don't purchase my tax filing. I could have filled in more of this information, but like people can just put in their information, check out right there, and it goes straight to their inbox. Does anyone have any questions in terms of like how to set that up or anything like that? I'm worried that I like speed way too fast through that. It's just like Stan is actually just that easy where like you can just go in, check out, this is my tax filing right here, and that's it.
I think we were on your presentation, so it might be good.
No.
It's okay.
That's awkward.
I thought my computer was frozen because like your faces were frozen. So I was just like, la-di-da.
Well, then to answer this and actually share my tabs properly, thanks Google Meet. Yes, Natalie. So basically, Stan is your all-in-one store builder. So like this here is kind of like what my Stan store looks like. And then from there, I build my sales page through Stan. So, and Susan, every single payment option is available, whether it's PayPal, credit card, Klarna, Afterpay, we support everything. Not crypto because no one uses crypto yet, so we're good. Now you basically, you can export anything and upload it into your QuickBooks, but all you do here to set up your sales page is like, I clicked into this tax filing that I have. The checkout page, this is your sales page. And you can add photos, you can add text, you can add videos. This is a really simple template we offer to start. But basically everything you need here, whether it's setting your price, setting your text or your descriptions, it's all here within Stan.
Show them Stan, the AI.
Stanley?
Stanley, yes.
What do you like about Stanley?
Are you kidding me? I don't have to do the work. I just type in what I wanted to tell me. And I don't really use that. I meant more like in doing the description.
Oh yeah, totally. Lovely. Let's do that.
Like my favorite part because I don't have to do my own work in making a description.
Let's do Alex's Excel spreadsheet for business owners. And generate that with AI. And just like that, that's actually pretty solid. You see that there. At least, I could have typed in more about conversion ratios, Alex, or what have you. But basically, this is pretty solid. If you give it more context, it'll be even better than that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Natalie, Stan is basically Shopify specifically for content creators. We're trying to make it as easy as possible. And so with that being said, y'all, all of these products here, and I'll make sure that all these products we went through here, all of these things that you can sell online, basically Stan is as easy as you set up a sales page in the way that I did really briefly there. So in this case, you go here, you add a product. If there's anything in the world you can think of that you can't sell through Stan, let me know and we'll build it. But I think this covers mostly everything. You click in one of these, whatever you want to sell. You create the sales page by filling in these little text boxes, and it updates everything for you live. And then you press publish, and it's live. It's good to go. It was so easy that now I have to clean up my store after this.
Alex, you had asked like about duplicating. I would just say, if it were me, I would just file, save, and then maybe on one that you're giving away, like do like a code word only you would know. That way you don't have to like be sharing the same link. Like
a
from
password
protected. Sorry.
Like make it password protected?
No, I would just make it like save as, and then just add maybe like like 24 for like the year at the end. That way you know which one you're giving out to people. I don't know is Excel the same as like Google Sheets where you're like actively working in it?
It could be, or it could be an Excel file. Yeah. I think if you thought, I don't know, if either of you, anyone had an opinion on like, would you rather have an Excel file or do you rather work in Google Sheets?
Either one you can password protect, Alex, and then have that be kind of like part of the automatic like delivered
confirmation.
Exactly, because stands in the confirmation email on your behalf.
Okay, interesting.
Well, with all that being said, this is the picture I also wanted to paint for y'all in kind of an otherwise scenario, which is like back in the day when I first started, just to give you all a sense of like how much harder this was back in the day. I had, someone mentioned Natalie, I think you mentioned Shopify before. I had a storefront. You could have Squarespace, whatever you want to use. From there, you have Kajabi for courses. I'm sure many of y'all have heard of that. Go High Level, I think, for courses as well, Natalie. On top of that, you have Linktree for like the link in bio, all that kind of stuff. You have MailChimp, which for me costs $250 a month for my number of contacts. Lauren, I'm curious how much Stan saves you on your contacts. You have Calendly for your calendar booking feature. You have Gumroad that charges a 10% fee. Y'all make sure to be wary of folks that are like, this is free, because then you do a single transaction, you pay more in fees than you would actually pay for any subscription. And then beyond that, for those y'all thinking about a community, I'd circle back in the day. And so this is kind of like the feature sprawl that I had to deal with back in the day. Of course, in terms of what we can promise you here at Stan, of how you can do this in the easiest way possible without the brain damage, this is everything that we replace. And we do that very, very proudly. Not just $500 a month for software. Keisha, you asked early on, like, what were the fees? Just $29 a month, and 0% fees on payment processing. So this is what we do. But the thing is with Stan, and why I think we can be most helpful, and Lauren, I think why you like working with us and why you like partnering with us is kind of around specifically a couple of questions that I have to ask for y'all today, which is I put together an offer just for this session and after this session. There are three main questions that I want y'all to think about in terms of like what Stan might be able to do for you if you're ready to go on this journey. Number one is, do you want to save basically hundreds of hours of hassle on the tech? Like that web of everything there, I spent trying to do myself, where I was like, screw it, I'm going to build something better than that. Number two is, do you want to save thousands of dollars per year on software? Right, that's like what we do best. Is we're very, very proud of how affordable we are. And then lastly, from there is, do you want to be supported the whole way through? And so this is where we really differentiate in terms of what we can actually help people. Because what we think about here at Stan is what makes us special is we're much more than just the tech. Because I want you to think about like this whole process where I was showing you all these big creators who like have made $100,000 or almost $1 million selling some sort of guide. It is simultaneously that easy, but also that hard, because there's so many steps in that. It's really intimidating. And I remember having so many insecurities the whole way through and like unknowns, and I was doubting myself. I lacked all this confidence. But number one, if you think about it, you have to make content. You have to learn how to make good content, which is like the trial and error process in and of itself. It takes a lot to show up online. Then just set up the tech, which like I showed you the web before is like a pain in the ass. Then you have to like actually create your product and service and like make sure it does it feel right. Like, what do you guys think of the sales page copy, all that kind of stuff. And then from there, you have to just like, learn to scale a business. Like Lauren, I have so much respect for what you've built. Like there's so much fear involved and like unknowns of like, well, okay, I launched my first product, I made $1,000, how to make 10,000? Like, what do I do to scale it? Like there's not resources there. And so when you think about Stan here, this is our team here. Love the team. You'd think like, we're probably going to help you solve this one, the tech stuff, right? That whole web of stuff that costs way too much money, we can replace. So that's where we can help out. What makes us truly special, guys, is like, we're going to help you make your first product. We're always happy to chat anytime. Beyond that, we're creators ourselves. If you follow us on Instagram, you've seen us. Like I started creating content way back in the day. We're happy to help you think about all of this kind of stuff. But most importantly, guys, we're just basically here for you every step of the way. And so yes, you'll get the Stan software. It'll save a bunch of time, a bunch of money. But what actually really matters to us at Stan, what we get genuine joy from, is it sounds like many of y'all are really in the early days of like, I'm maybe kind of on Etsy, but I want to start my own social business. Like I know social, but like I want to start my own account. But like I have all these questions. And so what we do here at Stan better than anyone else, because this is what we love doing and what we really care about, is like, yes, we will help you with the tech. That is like brain damage saved in and of itself. But what we're really proud about of how we can show up for you is really in how we can help you across the entire journey. And so I mentioned before, we're very proud of that chart of $100 million plus that we've made for creators is like all we live and breathe. But one of my favorite things about Stan is just all the testimonies we'll post. So like people will post photos of how much money they've made. This one from Trish is my favorite. Like she's always like, Stan for creators paid for my entire wedding and honeymoon, which is like such a flex. Beyond that, this is my favorite tweet I've ever received about Stan. I'd use Stan even if it might cost my left arm. Abigail P, if any of y'all follow her, just made over $1.5 million on Stan over the last year, retired her husband who had a stroke and lost his job. And just creators, like people that just started all the time will start to make money on Stan. And that's something that we really, really love doing. And it's like what gives us energy. It's because this journey that I hope many of y'all will go on and like I want to support y'all on is something that we're really proud of helping people do. And so with all that being said, I didn't want to just offer the software. I was going to come in and like spend an hour with Lauren and her community. Put together a one-time specific offer just for this, and I'll tell the team to close it like within the next hour after that. But this is everything I wanted to put together for the community. And so specifically, number one is I mentioned before all the software stuff that we do. So that's like I challenge you to find anywhere else in the market that like is anywhere simple and easy and is affordable. I promise you won't find it because that's why we exist at Stan. Like that's why we have a business still that's running is because clearly we're doing something. But the two things that I wanted to offer on top of that is number one, I mentioned before we want to be there for you every step of the way. So as part of this here, most people have to like struggle through the software and figure it out themselves. I'm happy to have the team do a like couple free, like as many calls as you need, one-to-one monetization coaching calls. So what that means is like we've got a friends@stanwith.me email that once you sign up, you can email anytime. In that, if you want to book time with me or someone else on the team, happy to spend time literally just like walking you through a brainstorm of like how to product, like Alex, for example. If you want to figure out why people didn't buy your Excel spreadsheet the first time, I can just sit down with you and like look at your content and we can think about it together. I'm a business owner. I'm like your exact target customer. We can talk about why you probably didn't convert in those scenarios. So those are things that we know that we can do because we do it ourselves as creators ourselves. And then lastly, I mentioned before the Creator MBA course that we put together. If you want to, if y'all sign up during like kind of this moment here, if you DM me, I will actually make sure the team sends that to you as well. And so with all that being said, this is a ton of money that we're kind of offering on this. The price that we'll offer today is just like sign up for Stan, specifically $29 a month. By the way, 14-day free trial, money back guarantee. But beyond that, the last thing that I did was I just pinged the team. So this is a QR code. If y'all want to sign up now, I made it a 30-day free trial instead of a 14-day. That's just kind of as a sweetener. And Lauren knows that we don't give out the 30-day. We only do the 14-day.
Wait, can I add in my 2 cents?
Oh, please.
Okay, I literally tell people this all the time. There is not a single place, like company, where like I know the CEO, I know the partners, the people in charge of partnerships. I know like 5 different engineers, and I've had phone calls and video calls with every single one of them multiple times just to check in on like me and like as a creator. What? Linktree could never. Okay, just like it's insane. The way they support their creators. And I'm not just saying this because like I'm partnering with them. I'm saying this literally because they're the best thing ever. So the end, that's all.
Thank you, Lauren. And I sent the link as well if you don't use the QR code. For this here, if y'all want to sign up for this, we'll probably turn it off after this webinar. But if anyone has any questions in terms of signups or anything like that as they're signing up.
I'm interested, but I have to take my daughter to a doctor's appointment in 8 minutes. Can I sign up later today?
Will you shoot me an email just so I can flag it to the team?
Yes.
Because I'm worried that if you don't sign up, just flag it to me now, or else I'm worried you won't get the package and you'll just get the regular Stan sign up.
Okay. What's your email?
Or shoot Lauren a DM or me. It might be easiest.
Can you drop it in the chat?
Yeah.
I'll connect you.
Cool.
Okay. Okay.
If anyone else isn't ready to sign up now, make sure to email that so you can actually get the full offer, or else you're just going to get the normal Stan 14-day treatment.
I'm signing up today. I feel like this is worth $1 million. So thank you so much for all of this information. Thank you, Lauren, for sharing this. I'm in like this. The best deal.
Lovely, Vanessa. And just from your energy you brought on the call today, I'm like, yeah, she's probably gonna do well. But truly, like, once you sign up, shoot me a personal email too. You have my email there. I'm happy to hop on the phone anytime.
And if anybody wants to send me a DM or email me, I'm more than happy to take a look at your offers and just give like a second eye.
Cool. He should just ask, like, do you need a following? You don't. You got to build a following. Like, we can't do that for you. We're going to support you the whole way through. But Keisha, basically, the difference between Etsy and what you're doing now is you got to build that audience yourself, but then you can organically drive leads in a way that you don't have to pay the fees. And so we'll help you through that process of identifying. Like, there's so many cool video ideas you can do with your coloring pages. Like I can already think of like the visual of a frame. Like the hook is like look what I gave my 4-year-old kid to do. Like, these products are so cool. Like, you can do so many viral reels with your like really visual coloring pages. But there is no contract. You can cancel literally anytime. Money back guarantee, like, because we're just really certain in the offer at this point. Like, we just know this is the best value out there by a long shot. And we're really, really proud and convicted in the services that we can provide you. So there is no contract, money back guarantee. You have my email. I'm literally the founder and CEO of this company. And this is kind of like, we want to do something fun with women's community. So cool. Well, thank you guys so much. Vanessa, I look forward to you joining the Stan fam and chatting with you soon about your journey. But with that being said, y'all have my email. You can DM me on Instagram anytime. We and the team are super happy to help anytime. So,
Sean, do you like help people with Notion templates? Because I love Notion, but I'm like, that's all.
We can definitely have a chat on the side because I'm kind of obsessed myself.
Thank you. Thank you.
lovely. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for